So, with her honey, and you're making out. When the phone rings, you answer it in the voice is
What are you doing with my data?
you tell her girl, and she say,
My dad is dead.
then who was phone? Welcome to the premier podcast on the internet where we talk about failed horror in all forms. We discuss things from bad creepypastas to maybe one day we'll discuss bad horror movies, and even, should the Lord be willing and the creek don't rise, we'll discuss Goosebump books. I don't know.
Woo!
We go wherever the spirit takes us.
The spirits.
Okay, all right, I'll grant you that. Hello, everybody. My name is Josh.
And my name is Bradley, and this is actually very exciting because we got somebody else. I know on the website we introduced 3 people on this podcast, and there's only been 2. So we'll let the mysterious voice here kind of take over.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. In all seriousness, hi, I'm Steven. My qualifications include knowing how to plug in a microphone and almost always wearing pants. Will you know? No. Happy to be here.
And his third qualification is this. He is the third brother-in-law. So,
yes.
Keeping true with our promise, only brother-in-laws are allowed on this show.
And as I keep saying, that doesn't shrink the pool down by much.
No siree.
We've got plans to marry and lots of people.
No, there's only one left, so...
I still got a sister.
No, there's Faith.
Yeah,
there's Faith.
And yeah,
that's true.
And there's Michaela. I was only counting Michaela. So.
Well, that's not counting the idea that, we need a guest spot.
Yeah.
Rotating marriages.
All right, so welcome to the podcast. We've got all sorts of exciting things planned for you today. Amongst them, and I would say maybe our first exciting news for you, you've been enjoying the podcast here, and it's been coming up on a hopefully regular schedule, and you've been enjoying it. But we went live today. This is actually marking our first day of going live here
on the 19th.
On June 19th. Juneteenth.
Yeah, Juneteenth.
Yeah, we're excited about it, and
I would hope so. But yeah, no.
Yeah. So amongst the things, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Player FM, and we're on Google Podcasts.
You can listen to it right on the website now, can't you? Well?
For sure. Actually, I would say that, and I know that everybody who says that their podcast, the podcast website is the premier way to listen to the website, premier way to listen to the podcast, is generally just lying to you. But I would genuinely say our website is the premier way to listen to the Spoops.
No ads. Ish.
And also, secondarily, we're going to be running contests up here inside of the future where we're going to let you guys rewrite some of our bad stories. We're going to pick one bad story from each episode. You'll be able to find it online on the website and then just submit it online to us. And if we like your rewrite of the bad story, we'll read it here on the website.
Absolutely, yeah. The big goal is basically seeing if you can change that score rating, because I know we screwed it up a little bit in episode 2. We did a 4 rating, but we're back to the 5 because we know what they are.
Because we listened to episode 1 again.
Yes, and they are 1 crappy, 2
spoopy,
3
too spoopy,
4
spooky,
and 5
too spooky for me.
And yeah, we're going to be sticking with that rating from here on out until we forget it again.
I don't know. Maybe 4 we'll have 3 because we can only remember spoopy and too spoopy, and then I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. I just need to give this story a delightful preface. I found this, and it is amongst the rare, beautiful gems of internet creepypasta stories that I'd like to call teenagers with dark fantasies who write novels, because this is the second one that we've read that's like this. You'll see, I would say, many similarities between this one and Doctor.
Yeah. I was noticing that as I read it. Yeah.
Apparently, people like to feel troubled, and then they write these stories, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm such a monster! Look at me, I'm a monster here in the story." And then Well, you'll see how this turns
Yeah.
into failed horror here very quickly. There's a lot of ways this turns into failed horror, but allow us to present to you the beautiful story of Close Your Eyes.
My name's Freedom. All my memories from my childhood consist of playing with my many friends or drawing characters from my imagination. I knew I had psychotic episodes and schizophrenia from a young age. So did my friends, but they never saw it as something negative or unsettling because they had their own problems. My parents didn't notice or care. I was a typical tomboy with shoulder-length, bushy brown hair and eyes which had an olive hue to them. I was rather curvy and tall for my age, being 5'5" at the age of 11. People describe my personality as social, happy, creative, humorous, friendly, and rebellious. But they said I had a darker side too. I lost almost all my negative emotions at the age of 10. My favorite thing about me was my scar on my left hand. I had carved it into my skin during a psychotic episode that resembles a cat's skull. I have a sister, Laura, and my parents were not the best. They seemed to neglect me, and more than once I had to cook my own dinner because my dad was working and my mama was at a party with my sister. I knew about creepypastas, and they were one of the things my sketchbook was filled with, aside from comics and different characters. I had my own creepypasta called Silent Killer, who was modeled after me. She had the exact same features like me, and I referred to her as I. My friends called me Silent Killer as a joke, and I called them after their original characters too. When life seemed to be going great, disaster struck. A bus crash. Looking back on it, I shouldn't have been too surprised. This happened in Silent Killer's story too.
I was manifesting. I should have seen it.
Okay, continuing on here. Looking back on it, I shouldn't have been too surprised. This happened in Silent Killer stories too. On the morning of the incident, everything felt wrong, but stupid me just shrugged it off and went and got ready for another day of getting in trouble in class. As I got on the bus, everything seemed normal and my anxiety melted away as I heard my friends greet me with the words, "Silent, we got the fronts." Fee sat beside me, so I turned on my favorite songs on full volume and we told jokes and laughed until we were gasping for breath. We never put our seatbelts on though, even when the bus started moving. I don't remember much about the crash because the impact of me hitting half my face on the dashboard knocked me and my friends clean out. When I woke up in the hospital, literally everything felt different. A kindly looking nurse who was pushing a trolley which seemed to carry needles past the door noticed I was awake, and she came in and in a thick American accent said, sorry, go ahead.
So you finally got up.
I had so many questions, but all that came tumbling out of my mouth was,
Where am I?
She explained that while I was unconscious, they flew me to America because my injuries were so severe and the Irish hospitals didn't have any more beds. I oohed in reply, and then she said,
Girl, something bad happened to your face. Wanna see?
I nodded despite that I already knew what happened. She brought a small handheld mirror to me, and in it I saw half my face. The rest was a malformed mess of melted, waxy-looking skin. I smiled at the new me, and the nurse looked shocked. She then started laughing, and we laughed it off.
Crazy Irish.
I was in the hospital for a while and wrote home every Sunday. As every day passed, I grew more and more fed up with the hospital and their constant routine. In one letter, I asked for my black Silent Killer clothes and shoes back, and a few weeks later, they arrived in the post mail. I used a notebook to plan a massacre and my escape out of anger and spite. As I lay in the disgustingly white hospital bed, staring out the windows, all I needed was a weapon and a mask. I turned to lay on my side, and as if my wishes were answered, there lay a marine sea blue sledgehammer with red stripes and a wooden handle. Attached to it was a note and a mask that covered the right side of my face, which looked like half a cat's face, but only the nose was black, although the eyes were also black, with two triangles hanging down, almost like tears. The note said one thing.
Hide me.
Josh, I'll let you continue part 2 here.
Okay. Sorry, just as a small note, I love how you started reading this in American accent, and then
Yeah.
midway through you discovered it was Irish. You sort of, she was Irish, and then your American accent just disappeared.
Well, I noticed that I was reading it very
Mama
southern.
saying,
Well, I'm sorry. When you see mama, that's a very southern drawl thing.
Almost it.
Mama said.
okay.
And I'm sorry, what Irish person names their kid Freedom?
That's more of a Scottish thing. I've seen Braveheart.
Okay. Don't worry, listener. I won't make you listen to my bad Irish accent because I don't have one. Just a bad assemblages of verbs that might be mistaken for an accent. Okay. I put my plan into action almost immediately, but first I had to make sure no one was around to see me prepare. Then I realized that I could easily take out the staff since they all looked very weak and tired, but I'd rather not take my chances. I threw on my outfit, black coat and mask, and then picked up the sledgehammer and ran down the nearest staircase silently. And eventually I got to a room where all the light controls were, and I turned them off. Pleased with myself, I dashed back up the stairs and began stage 2 of my plan of the massacre. I took down each ward one by one, going in and emerging minutes later soaked to the skin in a crimson liquid. I think the only wards that weren't demolished by me were the maternity and children's wards. I enjoyed it, and the screams of agony brought me glee. I'd sing a song every time I was walking down the hallway in a psychotic voice.
If you think you're going insane, don't close your eyes. I'm messing with your brain. Lies, lies, lies. If you think we're just characters from a story, I've never seen someone so dearly wrong, wrong, wrong. As she creeps around the corner as quiet as a cat, she's hunting for her next victim, and you're the rat. As she stands in the hallway, through her giggles and cries, you'll hear the phrase, close your eyes.
Bashing 3/4 of the hospital's employees and patients' skulls in with a sledgehammer took less time than I expected. I had the outer layer of skin from my victims who I murdered, and I'd eat later. I ran into the forest covered in blood, and once I made it in a few miles into the woods, I found a pile of leaves to curl up on, and I slowly went to sleep. I was truly happy. Later, I awoke to the sound of talking and sirens, and I felt around for my weapon. Then I sat up with leaves embedded in my ponytail, but who cared? I never cared about beauty. I saw flashing lights through the trees, so I began running towards them. And when it all came into view, I saw 2 murderers surrounded by angry-looking police. I got their attention, and for a second, they looked shocked that I was helping them, before noticing the bloody state of my clothes and what my hair was in. I put my finger to my chapped lips, and when I had snuck up on the police from behind, I took 2 down with one swing of my sledgehammer, and it drove the attention away from the murderers in the center, giving us the opportunity to kill all the police officers in less than 3 minutes. I stood up over the bodies, and when I heard them
say almost at the same exact time.
Thanks for the help. Who are you? I'm Freedom, but you can call me Silent Killer.
I uttered calmly.
Your creepypastas... Wait, what?
Her grammar slipped right here at the end.
Yeah. Your creepypastas, I think, please don't kill me.
They simply laughed.
We won't.
One said.
Just tell me, how did you get into this state?
I explained how I destroyed the hospital and killed around 80 people in cold blood. They told me to follow them, and I became one of them. I became my original character. The end.
So,
Okay. I was so tempted to change the title of this story to The Bloody Mary Sue. After the literary trend of having a female character who's overpowered being called Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is amongst the same thing. Oh, I love it when people write themselves into a horror story.
Yeah. Here and again, though, going back to Doctor, for those of you who might not have listened or just need a recap, the name meant nothing. Because,
Right.
like, he literally killed people, like, he strangled one person, shot, I think he shot another
Nope.
person.
Crowbar and a necktie.
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 That's right.
And then C4 for the rest.
Yeah, everybody else got C4.
Everybody has an endless supply of C4.
Yeah, so how that relates to the name Doctor, I do not know.
He was the Doctor of Death.
Yeah, but here again we have Silent Killer, and her weapon of choice is a sledgehammer. And the hospital is filled with screams and her singing as she walks down a corridor. None of that is silent.
The only thing she did that was silent was run down the stairs.
or there was the part where she slept in the leaves. That was very peaceful.
She curled up like a dog in the leaves. A pile of leaves. Allow me to place myself here. Turns around 3 times.
What a joy to
Massages
frolic
the-
in.
Massages the leaves.
Oh man.
Can we just talk for a moment briefly about the hammer ex machina?
Where'd it come from?
Yeah, and it was like overly Americanized. Like it's got the red and white and blue and stars.
No, it was cute. It was cute. Sea foam. It was sea foam. That's not American colors.
Wrong blue.
It was just her favorite color.
Gotcha.
Her favorite murder. Her favorite kill.
And she's now half cat, so half deformed woman, half cat. Where the eyes are black, but the nose is also black.
Yeah.
It's not often a descriptive sentence is such a run-on that I become confused about the thing the person is describing. I really lost the thread there, though.
I also love the casualness of these stories of mental health episodes. All of these like self-insert stories involve somebody who's like, everybody knew I was psychotic and they all thought it was funny until the day I snapped and killed them all.
But this is also a couple really big things. One, there was no beds in the Irish hospital, so they flew her to America.
Britain was full up too.
So
they said, "Oh, her name's Freedom. We know where she belongs."
But the bigger issue, or what I find very interesting, is
we'll fly her across the sea, even though her health is in critical condition.
But she apparently. So a couple things. One, I don't know how things work in Ireland, but school buses here don't have seatbelts.
Apparently, in Ireland, they do. That's the only thing I could assume.
And apparently, might I add, the school buses in our sister nation across the sea, apparently the front row, there's no seat back. Hang on, I need a gesture for this. The leather thing that sits in front of you even if you're in the front row? Apparently these kids just plowed into the dashboard. And I find that very interesting.
Well, and the fact that melted her face skin.
I'm assuming there was like a fire that happened there. That was the implication, and it like melted her face.
Gotcha.
Now,
otherwise, it was just friction.
Now, see,
lots of friction.
What I appreciate is that the implication that she was basically sitting on the bus driver's lap the whole way too, and that might have been the reason for the bus accident.
Well, maybe we can assume that her best friend, what is her name? V or whatever. That was the bus driver. She
Yeah. That's the only appropriate.
Fee. That's what it is. Fee the bus driver. F.I.
And her other friend Phil.
Yeah, V5O and Fum.
Fum was not present. Fum had a prior engagement.
But no. So the thing is like she goes on this rampage, but kills not like no one she's close to. She just kills a bunch of random Americans, but not
In the hospital.
but not the mothers and children.
No.
She's skin. So she has
she's
a
a killer with morals.
There's some odd virtue signaling going on in here. Just, I'm fun and I'm creative and I'm outgoing, but I like to kill people. I'm not like other murderers.
I kill to save people.
Everybody loves me, except for my one quirk. Every so often, I lose my mind and I murder 80 people in a hospital.
They were gonna die anyways.
Now, see, the other thing that really confuses me is she is a silent killer, even though she's murdering everybody in the most public way possible, because the hospital doesn't evacuate. It doesn't try to get anybody out. They just like, oh, man, I can't hear anybody from the ER anymore.
Screaming and then silence. That's not concerning at all.
And like
Did you hear a song upstairs? I don't know, Derek. I'm just gonna go put my back up here to the dark stairwell and take a cigarette break right here.
Well, and like she goes to a room that controls all the lights, but doesn't go to a room that controls all the cameras.
That's a great point. She took a basic film class and realized that these were not night vision cameras.
Right,
They were gonna have shadow clip problems.
Well, before we get too dragged into the rabbit hole, I think the important thing is to rate it and move on, because we could get stuck here a while. It's a 1 for me. There is nothing scary.
See, what I find fascinating is when people make themselves the main character of a horror story, they actually don't make it a horror story anymore. It just becomes a power trip story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I'm able to take down police officers with a sledgehammer.
It actually didn't take as long as I thought it would.
It was only 3 minutes, and that was with my back pockets full of skin that I was going to eat later.
Yeah.
Yum.
Yeah. Also, how was she
KFC, finger licking
Sorry,
good.
how did she get the skin off with the sledgehammer?
You just beat it hard enough.
It's like have you ever
You can get
tenderized
anything
a chicken breast before? It all kind of turns to skin at the end.
Right, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and rate that straight crappy.
Crappy.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to be generous. I'm giving it a spoopy, because if it was written from the perspective of, say, somebody who was in the hospital, like, say, a mother who had just given birth and she heard down the aisle somebody singing that song and then heard about a horrible massacre that had happened, but she was left alone, but she was always wondered why she was left alone, that'd be like on a pretty full spooky.
Yeah.
Not too spooky for me, but it would be a 4.
I can vibe with that.
So, acknowledging that there's elements of horror in it, I'm going to say a 2.
And then, as for me, I have to agree with the 2. Primarily because I am now terrified that the next time I have an Into the Abyss kind of thought, I'm going to look off the edge of my bed and see a brightly colored sledgehammer. And know that I've been activated. That I am now the serial killer psyop. It's a 2 for me.
Are you saying you have your own OC?
I'm not
Just
saying that I
Hit
don't.
me up with that name, bro.
Yeah, from now on, I want everybody to call me the fartiest killer. Silent but deadly.
Oh man. Well, let's take a break from that real quick.
Yeah, let me tell you about a cool urban legend. No, wait, no, let's do this first.
Yeah, let's do this because I'm actually really thirsty. And
I'm
this
so
will help.
thirsty. I've wanted it all the way through that story. I just clipped my fingernails today, and it really hurts.
Oh, beautiful. Nice and close to the next gentleman.
Need some help.
Thank you, Papa.
I'll let you
Papa,
get the crack
can you
right in front of
hear
your mic.
me?
So today's flavor is Monster Rehab Watermelon.
Juice. Oh, wait. No, this is Rehab.
It's not carbonated.
Wow.
I was really expecting that to be Can I talk about how disappointed I am that a drink that I'm drinking out of a can isn't carbonated? I didn't realize that was my expectation every time. But it's better than last week's.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Actually tastes like watermelon.
So much better than, what was that, Rainbow?
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, Rainbow was gross.
No. Was it spelled rainbow or was it spelled rainbow?
It was made by Rain, so it's REIG.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now.
All right. Hey, why don't I tell you about a cool urban legend?
Yeah, hit us up with it.
Okay, so I have been struggling with defining what this part in the show is. The part where I go out and I find a random urban legend, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I have been struggling with this part is that it's been hard to define exactly what I want to do, because after the 2016 clown epidemic, it's been hard to exactly narrow in what I want to talk about during this section, right? Because this is a Spoops, we're talking about failed horror. So I've decided that this has to be a thing that a group of people have all responded to, but everybody else can agree that it's not scary, right?
Yeah.
So
like
it has to be something that... Say what?
Like doing your taxes, for example.
Exactly, right? Well, no, see, that's something that everybody understands is scary. But the 2016 clown epidemic, where we all thought we were going to die in a clown purge, is an excellent example of a time that we all collectively lost our heads for nothing, right? So in that spirit, I remembered the story of the Japanese Kleenex commercial. Now, Bradley, have you ever... heard or are caught in any of this before?
No, this is new to me.
Okay, all right. So, I need you to picture this. Okay, you're in Japan. You're in a marketing division in Kleenex, right? So you go out and you say to yourself, "I need to make a commercial that helps our product go out into the market and lets everybody know our name and associate our name with our product." And people go, "Yes, I want to use that," right? If you're a marketing division, like you're a part of marketing, you have journalism, which means that you've had to study marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do?
Well, there's a couple different things. There's one, making sure you know your audience that you're, relaying that to. And then the other thing that I always remember getting, drummed into us is clear, concise messaging.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would probably do a commercial where you would have a mother helping a kid blow their nose and be like a Kleenex stitches. Yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Right? Or
building a trusted brand, basically. Something that, people can relate to, see that, this is good, this is safe, this is... Yeah.
Well, let's look at what Japan did.
It's a fine day, people open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. They walk by the grass and they look at the grass, they look at the sky. It's going to be a fine night tonight, it's going to be a fine day tomorrow.
Kleenex tissue です。
Huh?
Okay, so imagine you're a Japanese parent and you finally get the kids to bed. It's 9:00 at night, right? And maybe there's one lamp lit inside of the room. And you're all watching the TV together. You and your husband maybe curl up and you're putting your head romantically on his chest.
Yeah.
He puts your arm around you. But there's no other noise inside of the house except for the TV, and then that airs. What's your reaction?
Now, before we go any further, for the sake of our listeners who are not tapping into the visual element here, you should describe just a little bit of what it is they've missed.
Okay, no, you're right. Okay.
So yeah, let's set the stage of what you listened to, YouTube would have watched, and if you want to see it, you can pop over to our YouTube channel to see it. But just for a quick description, we have a woman in a white dress.
Mm-hmm.
We have. Was that a small man? That didn't look like a child.
It was a child.
Okay,
it was a
child
that much.
All painted in red,
mm-hmm.
with green hair and a horn, which
mm-hmm.
is an oni, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Is the technical mythical being. And she kind of pulls a tissue out, sniffs the oni child, and then the tissue flutters away.
And then it says Kleenex tissues.
Yeah. And that you heard the creepy sound. So, yeah.
Oh, and the song in a minor key that's playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
With lots of cavernous reverb on it.
Oh yeah. TV's either going off or TV is going in the like outside of the house. TV is done. TV is in timeout.
TV did a bad job. TV goes out of here.
Like
sprinkling a little holy water on there.
yeah. TV is just banished for a little bit. Like honestly, that would cause me to run to the bed and jump on it so that things weren't grabbing my legs.
Okay, so let me describe to you what happens, right? So you're Kleenex tissues, and what they did was they paid for a famous Japanese filmmaker. They spent millions of dollars on this commercial, so a famous Japanese filmmaker could come out, and this was his vision for how to get Kleenex tissues into everybody's hands. Yeah. Imagine you're an executive. You're sitting inside of this room, and you're waiting to hear back results. Everybody's like, yes, this is a fine modern art piece. And then people start calling into the station to complain so much that they had to take their multi-million-dollar ad off the air permanently. It was only until 2006 that they posted that on YouTube that this became the phenomena. It bombed so hard that they had to take it off the air the first night. Now, lots of people reported some interesting things about what happened. First off, they reported, well, there were claims that the commercial itself was cursed. If you watched it, you'd be compelled to commit suicide, which is fascinating. Because if you watch the commercial, nothing really that scary happened. It's just more of a...
unnerving.
Yes. Yeah. A child sitting there in a grumpy mood, and then a seemingly good Samaritan woman is not her mom. Yeah. Because the...
Oni.
Yeah.
The Oni of it all.
Yeah.
Or I guess so I guess what they were going for is grumpy, upset child with his mother trying to calm him, handing
by
him
flowing,
yes,
by letting the tissue go into the air. Yeah. Okay. Though nobody has been able to back up the claims that people have committed suicide because they watched this commercial, right?
Yeah.
There were also claims that everybody in the filmed part of the commercial died horribly. The child died because he was painted all red. And he died from lead exposure. That the mom died giving birth to a child that came out as a demon. These were all claims that the Japanese were saying about this commercial, right? Though, again, the child is alive and well to this day. And the mom was alive until like 2005, right? So, nothing like that. Now, this is where some of the more fun supernatural claims come in. They say if you watch the commercial right at midnight, the commercial completely changes.
Oh.
Instead of a red child, there's a blue child. And that this is where more of the supernatural claims of you wanting to unalive yourself come from, because you didn't see the true cursed one. Some of the Japanese reported that it was actually a German song to which said, I really need to find this. I need to get the exact verbiage. They thought that the lyrics were German for "Die, die, everyone is cursed and will be killed."
So the German national anthem.
Which is maybe a touch literal, I think.
Yeah. Well, that is German for you. Everything's a touch literal.
Now, the actual... efficient people, efficient language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, the actual... it's an actual song written by Jane Lancaster, and the actual lyrics are, "It's a fine day, people open windows. They leave their houses just for a short while. They walk by the grass, and they look at the grass, and they look at the sky. It's going to be a fine night tonight. It's going to be a fine day tomorrow." The most, like, ubiquitous songs. But again, you have to keep in mind that they played a song all in English in a nation that does not speak predominantly English.
So they heard that and they assumed it was German. Some of the reasons that people say that this commercial is so creepy is that there's a subliminal message about good versus evil and about how good yields to evil there in the last second by letting by trying to comfort the evil Oni, the good gives into evil at the end. Or maybe it's the fact that the song's all written inside of a minor key. But what I find the most creepy of all is the commercial that they replaced it with.
Oh.
Interesting.
Kleenex ティッシュをお使いですか?
Yeah, so there we go. That's the Japan. Japan, having been told that their first commercial was so bad and literally terrifying.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, truly divine.
The first commercial was so terrifying. They went so hard in the opposite. I would be more scared by that commercial than the first one.
And what's great is you can tell that they no longer had a budget because it's just a kid on a wooden staircase and
With angel wings.
and awful lighting. The lighting is awful compared to the first one. So it's like they went with this amazing videographer first time around. Second go around, they're like, Phil, do it, man.
Phil, you've got like an American white kid, right?
Yeah, fill in, man.
You're in marketing.
You're up.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the new things that I wanted to introduce to our show was us helping with our vast amount of paranormal knowledge, just like Doctor. I wanted us to be able to help fill in some gaps. So we're going to answer a question here, a paranormal question.
Yeah.
From Cora.
Quora?
Wah,
Cora.
wah, wah, wah.
Quora.
If-
Korok seeds.
If my internet will load.
Okay, I got it right. The big thing in the bold text, right?
I can pose it if you want to respond.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you pose it for us? You are the producer here.
So, user... Never mind, I'm not going to be able to find it. The question is, can a ghost be imprisoned in a house when the doors and the windows are closed? I'll have you know, the suggested question underneath it says, and this is for me, are there support groups you can join with other victims of narcissists? Read into that what you will.
So, I'm going to answer this, and it's an obvious answer. Yes.
Yeah, no, obviously. If
'Cause
you build a glass box for a ghost and then you like shut it closed at the last second, then the ghost is just going to be pounding on the glass all night.
No, so here's my actual answer to this and why I believe it is a yes.
Okay.
So normally when the ghost is haunting a house, they are haunting the house, not the person inside the person inside the house is being haunted, but they're being haunted because of the location. So the ghost is locked inside of the house, not because you've closed all the windows and doors, but because they're bonded to something either in that house or the house itself, meaning that they cannot leave. Now, I know that depending on your interpretations on ghosts, some have more power to be able to leave, but the general consensus is because of how little power ghosts have, they have to stay close to what manifests them, what they're bonded to, in order to have a very surreal presence. So even if they got out of the house, they probably wouldn't be as visible, or, they might sparkle like the Twilight vampires or something.
So, how far across the front lawn do you get before you're comfortable?
I'm sorry, I'm just stuck on the fact that Bradley had like a whole 12-minute speech about this prepared. He's thought so long and hard about it. He's like, okay, yeah, no.
Bradley, professional ghost hunter.
No, because I think the spirit of the question is, say a ghost like follows you into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because the ghost wants to be creepy and watch you, right?
Yeah, no, you're stuck.
Yeah. And then you just real quick close the door on him. and then you hold the door shut, the ghost can't do anything. Is that that's the question? If you close the ghost inside of the room, is he just stuck in there?
No. Ghosts can move from room to room as they please.
How do you know this?
How
do you know you haven't trapped a ghost inside of a stinky room before?
I'm just going off the basic assumption that ghosts travel through mediums because they have no physical body.
Okay, but what if they did, Bradley? That's what this question is asking. If I shut a ghost inside of my bedroom,
if a ghost had a physical body, that wouldn't be a ghost anymore. That'd be like a demon. Which you could lock a demon inside of a room.
Let's say you take a deep breath and you swallow and the air goes down the wrong pipe. Does the ghost escape you of its own volition, or is it stuck in there until you decide to toot?
Oh my gosh, can you vor a ghost?
That is the question.
I'm going to go with no, because the ghost has no physical manifestation, so they are not bound by the same reality as anything that has a physical shape. They can pass through matter as they see fit, because they.
Now, if you've been baptized, though, the rules are different.
This is true.
That's how I'm gonna hunt ghosts from now on, because they'll be trapped in my esophagus by the Holy Spirit. So I'll just go into a room and I'll be like.
But so if I had to go,
so if you had your house all lined with cemetery glass and
then,
blessed wood, then I guess, yes, you could trap a ghost in a room.
Yeah. So I guess to answer the question, if you want to poop in peace, blessed wood and cemetery glass your bathrooms, and you'll be able to take that deuce.
Well, first you have to go put a fan in through the room to go push the ghost out, and then close the door.
Yes.
In case the ghost is creeping in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll cover the Splinter Cat if you cover the it entity.
Absolutely. So we got a couple more stories for us here. We got.
This is actually our last story.
Well,
no,
sorry.
that's a lie. That's a lie.
Yeah, we got this story, and then we got the AI generated one, right?
Yes. No. We're in a truly spooky maneuver. We're helping contribute to the end of the world by using AI to generate bad stories.
Anyways, so first up, we're gonna hit it entity. I switched the record program on and prepared to record a video. I was going to record a video of how to professionally survive a day in Minecraft. It was going to be my first web Minecraft video. I was rather excited to make it and see the comments of my fellow gamers. Thus, I switched the program on and introduced myself. I moved my mouse onto the Minecraft shortcut on my taskbar and clicked. Minecraft launcher loaded up, but something was terribly wrong. The frame of the launcher looked like the usual, but the screen was black. I frowned and apologized to my viewers instead of just cutting it in post, trying to make up for it by claiming it was an Easter egg or something similar. To be honest, I believed it was an Easter egg myself. Finally, the screen started to show an image, a startling image. The image was of a bloody handprint leaking off the launcher and onto my regular desktop. I again apologized to my viewers with a stuttering voice and hoped they understood. I lied that it was fake and with trembling fingers moved my mouse. Suddenly, the handprint disappeared. I stared at the single message where the updates usually were. It is here. Sincerely, no. P.S. Sign off immediately. I read the message over and over and apparently didn't listen, fussing over what that could possibly mean. I did not bother to tell my viewers that this time it was also fake. I just pressed play and ignored the warning. The Mojang screen loaded up, but the entire screen turned black. I thought that maybe it was just a glitched clash. Maybe it was just a glitched crash. The home screen appeared, but the background was entirely black, and there was a single button. There's no escape. It said, I screamed softly, then hopped to edit the scream out of my video. No, that's how you spell hoped, yeah. And hoped to edit the scream out of my video later. Suddenly, in the background, a sobbing girl appeared, crying tears of blood. She wasn't pixelated, but looked lifelike. She pressed her palms against my screen and wailed. I was so transfixed that I pressed the button. What button?
There's no escape button.
Ah,
Standard in all Minecraft.
gotcha. I looked in horror at what I had done. Now I was teleported into a Minecraft jungle with ocelots running around as usual. I looked up at the sky and realized the sky was black and thundery. It started raining. I realized that the rain was unusually red. I looked back down and realized the ocelots disappeared. With her back to me was a pixelated girl in white robes with long blonde hair. She was emitting strange sobbing noises, like the one. Oh, strangled sobbing noises, like the one in the home screen. I egged on my viewers to keep watching. I tapped the shift button and slowly advanced on the girl. Quickly, the girl ripped around, and her face had an evil grin. And then my game crashed. I tried to post the video on any Minecraft expecting web, but it always what? I tried to post the video on any Minecraft expecting web, but it was always deleted. Later I got an email saying, "It entity, you have been warned."
The warning is also very important there.
It.
The entity is not real, so don't quote this post saying that it is. Thanks. This is only a made-up creepypasta.
Thank you, author. I appreciate that. I was worried the next time I played Minecraft, I would see something not scary. Why is okay? Every single time that someone's like, I'm going to write a creepypasta story, this is my first time I'm going to write about things I know. Minecraft. Why is it always Minecraft with your creepy horror stories? It's Minecraft and Roblox. Who are writing these stories? Am I making fun of an 8-year-old right now?
Probably.
Quite likely.
Ugh.
So this is giving off very strong energy from it. I'm gonna cut for a second here. This is I'm gonna show my age briefly here. As a creepypasta enjoyer, this is where my knowledge comes into play. This is giving me strong
Totally doctor.
Doctor Pasta. Right up there
Under my car after this recording.
for cut brake lines.
No, for C4.
Yes, I've been activated, but the old this is reminding me.
Oh crap! Find a sledgehammer first.
This harkens back to an old creepypasta, which, for the record, is the proof that stories like these are better shown than told. It's called Username 666 if you ever get bored.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, a strong start.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an old YouTube video of a screen grab of old YouTube. And the idea was that you would open up this video and it would basically just like pop out of the YouTube window with like crazy gory stuff, and it would like hijack your whole computer and crash it. And watching it, if you don't know anything about the internet, it's actually terrifying if you watch it in full screen. It's quite a lot to handle, so be prepared. But that being said, this is that, but if someone just described it to you like I just did, which is super lame.
Well, what I do appreciate is this sentence here. It was raining, and I realized that the rain was unusually red. What's unusually red? I'd say any kind of tint to red, right? I would say if I looked out and I'd say, wow, that rain looks pink, I would still say that's unusually red.
Well, no. I will say, if you've ever seen it, and it's actually quite beautiful. Like if the sun is setting and it's raining far off, like you could see that rain kind of having like the pinkish yellowish, like with the sunset so like that is an excusable amount of red.
I interpreted it as OP living in an area that just had an unseasonably large quantity of acid rain.
I don't know why they didn't say it was raining blood.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah, that would have.
That's what they wanted to say. They wanted to say it was raining blood.
That's a very common trope that I've seen throughout today. Actually,
Yeah.
There was crimson liquid, and they're trying. It's like they're trying to get us to think for ourselves, but not so much that we start picking the holes out in the story.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would need to happen to the story to make it scary? First off, the reader needs to be in actual danger.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. First off, the reader is never it's implied that there's danger with the it entity, but it never follows him into the real world.
Exactly. So yeah, like we talked about earlier in the episode, we definitely want you guys to rewrite some of these, and I think this is a great short one for them to go ahead and rewrite.
Yeah, I really wanted them to rewrite the first one, but it's a whole novel.
Yeah, so let's stick with it
Okay.
entity.
Yeah.
Which you can find all of these again on
The spoopspod.com.
and if they want to see, because we pulled all these stories,
And this is
specifically.
episode 3.
Yes.
And we pulled them all from the Trollpasta wiki,
So
which
yeah,
gives us free right to read it.
so yeah, if you head over to the Trollpasta wiki and look up it entity, you can kind of see
I'll have a link for it inside of the blog.
That's even better. I was gonna say, yeah, you'll be able to see this and look over.
Well, I'll post this with the link to the Trollpasta wiki on our blog. I'm going to do that for each story that we want rewritten. So all you have to do is go to the Spoop spot.
Exactly. So yeah, so I guess like yeah, danger needs to be apparent because there are hints at danger, but danger never actually comes.
And yeah, I would say that's the first one. The second one is that build tension. There's no tension built here.
Yes.
Yeah. And also third, don't pretend like you're live streaming if you're just recording. Really breaks my immersion. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so what do you rate this? Crappy, right?
No, I'm gonna give it the 2, the spoopy, because there is, I don't know, this one scares me a little bit more with just like a little bit of the atmosphere of like, you know, the wailing and kind of the jump scare of the person like turning around, slamming into the screen. Like, I think you can take that and actually run with that. Like if she would have slammed the screen and his monitor cracked and then everything went black.
Or maybe if at the end of the video there was a little bit of blood leaking out of the screen.
Exactly.
After everything was done and he was like, oh, okay, well that was a stupid little glitch.
Or you know, and again, this is just kind of helping people, but you know, slam into the screen cuts black, he sees his face, and then behind him is the girl in the reflection of the monitor.
Yeah.
Just like this, like literally saying that kind of just gave me goosebumps. So
Well, and do it where he's actually streaming, and do it with a Lovecraftian spin, where you're able to say like the Twitch viewers, as time goes on, the Twitch viewers in the chat are becoming increasingly more concerned about the nature of things, and that causes her to manifest.
yeah,
And then there's one viewer who just keeps posting like increasingly like irrelevant things where you're like, oh, it's that one guy. But then as it goes on, it keeps getting like more and more obscure until eventually we're getting into the full Lovecraftian unknowableness of it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
I think there is a base. So I'm going to actually rate this one higher than I rated the beautiful saga of the Silent Killer.
It was truly a saga.
I'm giving this one a
Great
2.
character development.
Great character developments. The Bloody Mary Sue.
You gave it a 1, I give it a 2.
Sure. I will say this. I'm gonna give it a 1 for now. I will say, in the extreme off chance that the original author happens to see this someday, if you revise the story so that the jump scare at the end is just my mom banging open the bedroom door because it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I was supposed to be asleep and she's holding a belt, immediate 5. I would be peeing myself. That's what it takes for me.
Okay, that's fair.
No. So we have one last little story here that I think
It's not a story. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to increase your knowledge of the world. I'm here to tell you about a wild animal that lives out there in the great forests of North America. It's called the Splinter Cat.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, I love cryptids. Cryptids are one of my favorite things. Cryptids are just animals that people haven't confirmed exist yet. And they range from an ivory-billed woodpecker, which was considered to be a cryptid for years until they were proven that they weren't extinct, to the chupacabra, right? And or the lizard people or the frog people. There's a
We just
Name
haven't
an
dug
animal.
deep into the earth yet. They're there. They're there.
So, cryptids are a wide, beautiful thing. One of these days, I'm going to read to you the saga of the squid squatch, which is a furry squid that lives in the mountains. It's a beautiful story. I haven't found it yet again. But for right now, I'm going to tell you about the Splinter Cat. Now, have you ever heard of the Splinter Cat before?
My cryptid knowledge is slim to none, so again, no.
I'm in
Okay.
the same boat.
Okay, well, up here at the top of the story, there's a picture. Do you want to describe that for a podcast?
It looks like a cross between a saber-toothed tiger with the coat of a cheetah headbutting a pine tree.
Yep. That's about it, right? So the Splinter Cat is a... so it's reportedly lives near the Rocky Mountains, and what it does is it eats wild bees and raccoons, right?
Cool.
Right? So they live in trees, though.
Yeah.
Hard to get to. So they devised an excellent mechanism to get these bees and raccoons. They climb a tree opposing to it, and then using their strong back legs, they leap off of it backwards and then headbutt the opposing tree so hard that it cracks the tree. Hence the name the Splinter Cat. Now, reportedly, they only do this at night and during thunderstorms because they've got an excellent metabolism and they only need to eat when a thunderstorm happens. And the great thing about it is that lots of people have reported sightings of the Splinter Cat, or maybe they've reported sightings of the aftermath of the Splinter Cat, right? So you'll go across and you'll see the cracked tree, or maybe half a dead raccoon, right? So in general, if you go through a wooded area after a storm, make sure that you always look out for the remains of a Splinter Cat. Now, I'm curious to know, Bradley, if you walked out into the woods and you looked up into a tree, because we're about to get into the rating of this cryptid, right? So I want to set the scene appropriately for you, okay? You're out there, maybe you're out there with your wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going out into the woods. You go out there and you are going to use this fantastic opportunity to enjoy a private date with your wife, right? And you're walking through the woods, and maybe it's getting a little bit darker, and then you look up and you see a cat of an indiscriminate size up on an opposing tree, and it just leaps backwards and then hits a tree so hard that it cracks the whole tree. What do you do?
Watch. Be a little concerned for the cat, you know. Like, so I'm a cat person, okay?
Yeah.
And like, my cats do this. Like, they'll stand on something and jump off and just headbutt things.
Yep.
So, yeah, I was going to say, Steven, you also own some cats. So, yeah, no, it's just...
Linebackers, dude. Just plow right into whatever's in front of them.
Yeah, like, I can't tell you the amount of times I've had a cat just full tilt run into a chair and then keep going. So, when I hear this, I'm like, honestly... believable. and because you know, you think about it, it's like, well, couldn't they just hop over to the net? Like, if they climbed up the opposing tree, couldn't they climb up the tree with the raccoon and eat the raccoon?
No, they need to crack it open like a fine coconut.
Yeah. So, but only a cat would hunt this way. So honestly, I'd believe it.
Okay.
And I'd be in full support of it. And also to
full support. He is voting for it for
yeah,
Senate.
Exactly. So to also, you know, capture this, you know, that old saying where they're always like, you know, well, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound? To, you know, to argue that their metabolism maybe isn't as good as you say. If a Splinter Cat headbutts a tree in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So, here's my thought on it. Doesn't hunt humans.
No, does not hunt humans.
But I would not be into it being a domesticated creature because if it's trying to be friendly, it's got a heck of a hard head. Yeah. If it's just playing, bam, there goes your femur, right? So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and rate this straight 3, which is a 2 spoopy.
Yeah, I will say, yeah. it would kind of be on par of seeing something along the lines of like black bear. Like black bears aren't notorious for hunting humans. They normally like to scavenge, forage, maybe feast on some smaller creatures, but you don't want to mess with mama and her cubs.
Right.
That's where things can get dangerous. So, yeah, if I messed with, Splinter Cat's kittens, yeah, goodbye femur.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll also give it a 3, not because I find this particularly scary, but if I came across it, I'd respect my distance to it.
I respect it a lot more than I would respect a girl with a half-masked cat and a sea foam. I would laugh at her the entire time she beats me to death, and then collects my skin to go eat later. With some fava beans.
And a nice Chianti. Yes. So, yeah, 3. I would definitely give this a 3.
Okay. So, we're basically here at the end of the podcast.
Yes.
So, let's go ahead and do our big wrap-up things before we read our last story.
Yes.
So, first off, if you want to find us and you like our podcast, we need your help. We don't intend to spend a dime to advertise our podcast, which means that the most effective way that podcasts grow is by word of mouth. Now, I need you to go tell your friend and your other friend and maybe your third friend about our podcast.
As well as all your OCs.
And all of your OCs. Okay? Now, we're doing a thing right now where if you email us to tell us that you're going to have a viewing party, right? You're going to bring everybody together. We will record a personal intro for you. So we will shout out all of your friends, and we will personally welcome you to go watch our podcast. But we do need you to go ahead and email us that's going to happen so we can go ahead and do that.
100%.
And the other thing is that we've got viewing goals.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So our viewing goal is if we can get Hello and welcome back. If you go ahead and meet our fabulous goal of 15 views to all of our podcasts, we will go ahead and play Sonic.exe.
Absolutely.
Which scarred me as a child, and I actually have anxiety about the idea of playing it again.
And I hate horror games, so this will lead well into our 25 view goal, which if we can reach that, we will absolutely, positively play any of your game suggestions. Now, we will have to, moderate and censor because... Of course,
this
but
is a family-friendly channel.
Family-friendly channel.
I want you to sit down with your peepums and your Miyama and be able to watch fine, good horror.
So, yeah, but we're talking, if you haven't read the website, I've passed out playing a game, so people might die, and that's what's great about it. At our 50 listens.
50th interaction on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Because people still use Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will go ahead and send you the can of energy drink that we are drinking that week. So if you're the 50th person to engage with our Facebook page, we'll go ahead and send you whatever can of energy drink we're drinking that week. So you can drink it in tandem with us.
Yeah. Ooh, signed. Yes.
Because my signature is worth less.
It will depreciate. Going up from that, let's double that to 100, and we will have our first major goal, which is the dramatic reenactment of one of our favorite stories.
Absolutely. So whether it be the Bunny Man of West Virginia or Doctor, we will recreate a video where we will play through that video story live. No, we will play through that story.
We'll make a play about that story.
We will make a video that shows the story.
With costumes!
Okay, that made no sense. But at 500...
And this is the big one. We will. The Brother-in-Law's 3. Yeah, at 500 views.
500 views.
500 views. The Brother-in-Laws 3 will go on
A sheep squatch hunt in Waterford. That's right. We will look for Waterford's very own
local
sheep
cryptid.
squatch.
Yes.
Yeah. The Splinter Cat. Tom was a huge fan of Minecraft. He loved building and exploring the virtual world, creating amazing structures and fighting off monsters. He spent hours every day playing the game on his laptop, sometimes until late at night. One night, he decided to try a new mod that added more creatures and biomes to the game. He downloaded and installed it, eager to see what it had to offer. He launched the game and started a new world. He spawned in a forest, surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers. He noticed some new animals roaming around, such as a deer, rabbits, and a bird. And he saw some strange creatures that looked like cats with spikes on their back. He checked the mod description and learned that they were called Splinter Cats. They were harmless during the day, but at night they would become aggressive and attack anything that moved. Tom thought that they looked cool and decided to tame one as a pet. He crafted some fish and approached the Splinter Cat. It hissed at him, but he threw the fish at it and it ate it. He repeated the process until the Splinter Cat purred and rubbed against his leg. He named it Spike and put a collar on it. He continued exploring the forest, collecting resources and building a small house. He made a bed for himself and a cat bed for Spike. He also made a window so he could see outside. He was having a lot of fun with his mod. As the sun set, he decided to go to sleep. As he entered his house and closed the door, he placed Spike on his cat bed and climbed into his own bed. He said goodnight to Spike and closed his eyes. He woke up to a loud bang. He opened his eyes and he saw that his window was shattered. Glass shards were scattered on the floor. He looked outside and saw a man holding a sledgehammer. The man had a mask on his face and blood was on his clothes, and he was staring at Tom with a twisted smile. Tom screamed and jumped out of his bed. He grabbed at his laptop and ran to the door. He tried to open it, but it was locked. He looked for the keys, but he couldn't find it. He realized that he had left it outside when he was building his house. He panicked and looked for another way out. He saw a hole in the wall where the window used to be. He thought about jumping through it, but he saw that the man was still outside, waiting for him. He heard Spike growl behind him. He turned around to see that his cat had changed. It was no longer cute and fluffy, but fierce and spiky. Its eyes glowed red and its teeth were sharp, and it looked like it was ready to attack. Tom felt a surge of hope. Maybe Spike could help him fight off the man. He picked up Spike and he threw him at the window hole. Spike flew through the air and landed on the man's face. It clawed him and bit him and made him drop his sledgehammer. The man screamed in pain and tried to shake off Spike, but Spike held on tight. Tom took his opportunity to escape. He ran through the window hole and sprinted away from his house. He hoped that Spike would follow him soon. He ran in through the forest looking for help, and he saw some lights in the distance and headed towards them. He reached the road and saw a car parked on the side. There was a woman inside holding a tissue box. She looked at him like she had been crying. Tom knocked on the window and asked for help. The woman rolled down the window and looked at him with surprise. Oh, wait, why am I reading the lines? That's your job.
Sorry, where were we?
Over here. The woman rolled down the window and looked at him with surprise.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
She asked.
Please, you have to help me. There's a crazy man with a sledgehammer chasing me, and my cat is fighting him.
Tom said.
What are you talking about?
The woman said.
Please, just let me in. I'll explain everything later.
Tom said. The woman hesitated for a moment and then unlocked the door.
Get in,
she said. Tom opened the door and got in the car.
Thank you so much,
he said. Now he's Italian. Thank you so much. The woman started the engine and drove away from the forest. She looked at Tom with curiosity.
So who are you? And what's going on?
She asked.
My name is Tom. I live in this town with my parents,
Tom said.
Where are they?
She asked.
They're out of town for work,
Tom said.
So you were alone in that house?
She asked.
No, I had my cat with me. His name is Spike. He's a Splinter Cat,
Tom said.
A Splinter Cat? What's that?
She asked.
It's a modded creature from Minecraft. I was playing the game on my laptop when this man broke into my house. He had a sledgehammer and a mask. He looked like he wanted to kill me.
Tom said.
That's horrible. How did he find you?
She asked.
I don't know. Maybe he saw the light from my window, or maybe he was just randomly looking for victims?
Tom said.
That's terrifying. And your cat? He attacked him?
She asked.
Yes, he did. He saved my life. He's a good cat.
Tom said.
I hope he's okay.
She said.
Me too.
Tom said. They drove in silence for a while until they reached the town. The woman stopped the car in front of the police station.
Here we are. You should go inside and report what happened. Maybe they can catch the man and find your cat.
She said.
Okay, thank you for everything.
Tom said. He got out of the car and walked towards the police station. He looked back at the woman and saw her smile at him. She waved at him and drove away. Tom entered the police station and told him his story. They listened to him with disbelief. But they decided to investigate anyway. They sent some officers to his house, hoping to find some clues or evidence. They also tried to contact his parents, but they couldn't reach them. They told Tom to wait in the station until they could find more information. Tom waited for hours, feeling anxious and scared. He wondered what had happened to Spike and the man. He hoped that Spike was okay and that the man was caught or killed. He wondered who the woman was and why she had helped him. He wished he had asked her for her name or her number. He felt a connection with her, and even though they had only met briefly, he had hoped to see her again someday. He closed his eyes and tried to calm down. He heard a voice whispering in his head. He heard a voice in his head whispering to him. It sounded like Spike's voice, but it was different. It sounded angry and hungry, and it said,
Tom, I'm coming for you.
Tom opened his eyes and screamed.